you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi. Welcome to another episode of On the Line. Today, I'm going to be sitting down with Russ Hamilton, and this is going to go out to our individuals who are on the job training for corrections, but not entered the academy first. That seems to be a problem that a lot of agencies have. And on my other venue, the Tier Talk venue, there have been people that have been sending me questions saying, Gange, what can I do to supplement me not going to an academy? So I figured me and Russ can kind of break down our thoughts, give you some tips, and hopefully we could do what we can until your agency decides to send you to an academy. Hey, Russ, do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Not at all, Anthony. My name is Russ Hamilton. I have 27 years with California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. Started my career way back when in 1989 at San Quentin State Prison. Later on, I promoted, retired, then went to work for the California Juvenile Detention Facility in Tuolumne, California. And now I just try and, share knowledge and content with Anthony through Tier Talk and through my own venue, which is on Keepers of Chaos.
Russ, always a pleasure having you, by the way. This is a topic that me and Russ have discussed many times. We kind of don't like the idea of people not going to the academy first because the academy does test you. The academy, gives you kind of an understanding of what you're going to expect in this profession, but still, you still need to walk in and get that full understanding, but it gives you something. It gives you a foundation. That's the key. And I think that for those that don't send their people to an academy first, you're not giving your recruits or your trainees a chance to kind of understand the knowledge that they're going to gain while they're on the job. They're just going to have no foundation to place that in. Correct, Russ?
It's really, in my opinion, kind of silly not to try and arm your officers with the knowledge and training that they're going to need. And you just kind of, do this ad hoc training when they show up. And, it's kind of questionable as to how good, how relevant, that training is going to be for them. There's, a number of things that they really need to know to look for. And a lot of times they're completely devoid of even knowing that they don't know something. And really, the top three things that I think of are, policy and procedure. Man, when you get to that facility, ask someone, where are the policies and procedures? Going to be a big old binder. Start looking through those things. Start familiarizing yourself, especially if they give you a chance to take that stuff home, you need to be doing it even there, because let me tell you something, what we do is critical and it's also very dangerous, and you need to be armed with that knowledge. The second thing is the Penal Code, man. You have to understand some things about the Penal Code. You have to understand the laws that you're enforcing, and you have to know what powers that Penal Code gives you in the position that you're in, according to what your title is in whatever specific state. So you need to look up your state's Penal Code and be very familiar with that.
Right. And also, I'd like to add a couple of things. First off, obviously, get to know those policies and procedures right away. I mean, that's one of the things you want to do when you first enter the profession, even if you already went to the academy. I mean, what you learn is pretty much a base, but you're still going to have to learn how each facility applies what you have learned. Also, another thing is obviously observe everything around you, learn from the best of practices, learn from the worst of practices. Yes, because there's stuff you can learn from the worst of practices. But one of the things I also like to mention is that there's a bond that's you develop in the academy, because there's kind of like an aggressive us versus them mentality with the instructors that kind of unites us. That bond is what motivates us to respond to codes, or what motivates us to respond to situations that most people would run away from, because it's not just a worker, it's our family. When you don't go to an academy, you're not going to have that bond. So there has to be a way for you to mentally get that bond. And I think what would help me is if I didn't go to the academy first, is that this was a profession I really loved, this was a profession I really wanted to do, then I would definitely connect with the people who are already in this profession. I think I would build the bond based on my motivation to be in this profession. And then ultimately, I think that would wind up having a ripple effect on the individuals. Eventually, if I'm motivated to be in this profession, I start admiring the people that are in the profession, which could be a great motivator. When you're in the academy, you're going through the same experiences. That definitely builds a connection. Here, you're going to have to foster this connection on your own. So again, your love for the profession should motivate you to really have respect for the people that are in this profession. But Russ, how would you complement that? How would you complement that bond that the academy could bring that you're not going to have at this point by not going to an academy?
Well, part of that's, just trying to reach out and, make friends and acquaintances and, foster that peer relationship with those people that you're going to be working with. One of the pieces of advice that I constantly give out when people ask me, what can I do? I'm going to the academy or I'm showing up at my facility. I say, well, when you get to your facility, you have to start looking for those individuals that are subject matter experts in any particular thing. It can be firearms, it can be gangs, it can be use of force, it can be contraband interdiction, it can be report writing, all of those things, and what you want to do then is you want to pick their brains and you want to become an expert in as many things as you can yourself. And it's a process and it takes time. But if you're consciously seeking out those individuals that already have that knowledge, you can shortcut the arc of your training by years and years and years, as long as you're willing to put in the hard work. And that's what's going to make you, a competent, finished journeyman correctional officer, in however, long it takes, but you can shorten that arc. But it's going to be harder for you without having that academy experience.
Yeah, and I like what you're saying. You're kind of also leading to what I was going to say about, if need be, find a mentor. You know what you need when you get in there. Find people that you can connect to. Find people that will help guide you to that path. And also, take advantage of resources like Tier Talk, community social groups like Keepers of Chaos. There's community of people there that actually have experience, that are willing to share their experience. A lot of them are actually even retired that still hang in because they want to be able to share what they learned in the course of their 25 to 30 years. It's part of what we have on Tier Talk. So many people I have on this channel have retired. Russ is retired, but there's still experience that they've learned that they want to share because we don't want that experience to get lost. So, create those avenues for yourself. If you have a social media page, join those groups. And if you have a YouTube, account, subscribe to Tier Talk and other venues like Keith Helwig's page, Cops and Corrections. There's just a lot of resources for you out there now that we didn't have when we first entered this profession. Also, there's good books. Gary Cornelius is a great author. He has books like Art of the Con. He has correctional officer manuals. There's another great book by Bud Allen, Diane Basta, called Games Criminals Play, that gives you kind of the mindset of the population that you're dealing with. And I will say one other thing. All because you've been in the academy doesn't mean you stop learning. You could still learn the stuff that you feel that you need to learn, and then that can help you when you go back to the academy, because that can actually give you a better foundation when you finally go back. So if they're not willing to teach you something, you have to seek the knowledge out on your own. We've done it. Me and Russ knew that, hey, you know what? Since I've been in this profession, these are things that they didn't taught me. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and find those resources myself. Shows like Tier Talk, again, was born on the need to say, hey, you know what? I feel there's a gap here. Let's fill it. Connie Eileen, she has a civilian corrections academy because she thought at one point this stuff wasn't being offered. So she went ahead and filled the gap. So it's all day learning and learning and learning. So even once you go to the academy, I just want to express the fact that the learning doesn't stop there. It continues. Would you agree, Russ?
Yeah, absolutely. And, like one of the great things about, if these people, come along and they check out what you have on Tier Talk and what I've done on Tier Talk, is there's thousands of hours of video on there. And a great deal of it, actually applies to, the initial responder correctional officer down there in the trenches, on what they need to know in order to, A, number one, survive, and B, to be effective in what they're doing. The way to really enjoy this correction, or this profession, is to become competent at what you're doing so that you're able to operate safely and you're able to make an impact on the safety and security of your institution. So those particular videos, and you can just, flip through and find the things that you think are going to be applicable to what you're doing. And, like I say, thousands of hours out there. So you can find something that's going to bolster, complement, and augment what you're not getting from not having that initial academy experience.
Right. I think we covered a lot here, Russ. I want to thank you for your time. You have anything you want to say in closing?
I just want to say, I had 30 years in this business, and you know what? I loved every minute of it. it's possible to enjoy doing what you do, even as hard and difficult, dirty and dangerous as corrections is. So, just nose to the grindstone and, make yourself into the correctional officer that you want to be. And most of all, stay safe.
As always, guys, the show is on the line. Please stay safe and tune in next week for another fine episode here at Guardian RFID. Take care, everyone.